If you ask someone, what's your favorite something? Be it game, movie, song, art piece, or anything else there is, they will normally go on a tangent explaining the details of it, their perspective on why, and possibly where they decided this was their favorite thing. But rarely do you get someone to open up about their emotions regarding it. Rarely does someone take the idea of said item being their favorite and explain all of their likes and dislikes. But yet they rally behind it fully, because it just fits with them so effortlessly. And why wouldn't they? It's their favorite. Why, you ask? Well, because it is. You'll often find a person who says, I enjoy it for what it is, without further explanation. But no one really asks about a game that changed their perspective on life. Well, today we're going to be talking about Expedition 33. One of the most talked about, and I assume over time will remain one of the most talked about stories in all of gaming. Now, I hope this expands outside of just games, causing the conversations to be had from people who have never touched a game in their life. Because as a concept within its layers, it's not just a game, it's a way to view the world. So with this conversation about Clair Obscur Expedition 33, I want you to be aware it will be full of spoilers and all. So this is your warning. If you haven't played this game, please do so. If you don't have the time or money to play it yourself, watch someone else play it. I suggest without commentary, so that way you can obtain your own perspectives, thoughts, and feelings regarding it. But regardless of your choice, you should see for yourself what layers there are to unfold in this weirdly therapeutic world. The first words spoken after starting the game are simply put, if you're gonna give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die. This is responded with, do you mean the flowers? Or Sophie? This exchange is short, to the point, and with layered meanings. It's also very dark. These are all recurring themes within the game. The concept of Expedition 33 is that the world had a disaster occur that resulted in the land and its people being warped and ripped apart. A monolith standing in the distance on a continent far away from their own, where a giant woman called the Paintress erases the current number written upon the monolith to write the next one, lowering the digit by 1 each time. As each year passes, this occurs on the exact same day. The moment she finalizes writing this number, everyone above that age will pass in a ceremony, celebration, and funeral event, all wrapped into one, called the Gommage, where the entire city of Lumiere comes together to remember the ones who passed before, and the others ready to leave this mortal coil as the day comes to a close. This event, and almost all future parts of the story, retain this cold but very honest idea of not only being dark and bleak, but brutally honest and real. As I've grown older, also as a man in his early 30s, I've learned quite a few life lessons. I'm never done learning or trying to grow, but I do my best to also reflect on my past and from others in an attempt to, hopefully, be better for those who come after. Whether it be to teach possible life lessons to my children or be a better person to others around me, in the hopes to maybe one day, in the smallest and most subtle way possible, help them also be better. People are complicated. Emotions, experiences, and perspectives will always skew our values and view of the world. But if there's one thing this game has helped me learn, it's that regardless of the reason for the heartbreak and pain that you feel, you have to strive to be better and move beyond that brick wall that seems unbreakable. I'm gonna stick with this metaphor for a moment, so stay with me. When you're met with an obstacle such as a wall directly in your path, and in this example, you cannot go around it. The only choices are breaking through or turning around to re-experience the same things in life. There's no progressing or moving forward if you choose to return along that same path you came from, only retracing your own steps, repeating previous experiences. But if you choose to keep going forward, you've got this huge, massive brick wall in front of you that seems impossible to knock down. Best case scenario is, you hit it in just the right spot, finding that one brick that allows the entire thing to come crumbling down. And some people are lucky enough to accomplish this. But most people will have to sit there smashing each individual brick, breaking it down from top to bottom. You don't even know what's yet to be seen behind this wall. There could be a clear path for the rest of your life, or there could be another wall right behind it. You don't know until you try, and if you found the strength and motivation to bring this wall down, then moving forward, you know what it takes to make it happen again. If another wall happens to pop up in your path, break it down piece by piece, regardless of the time that it takes. And you don't always walk away unscathed either if you choose this. Maybe a piece of the wall falls down and cuts you, leaving a scar. Maybe the hammer that you're using creates calluses that will never go away. Or maybe this is who you were meant to become all along. Someone who smashes every wall they come across, and without this wall, you'd never learn what it takes and what it means to keep moving forward. Now think about it from the other option. If you stopped at this metaphorical wall and turned back or sat still, refusing to do anything other than remain stuck on the path that you came from, you'll see things change and move around you, but you would be stuck, never moving, growing, or progressing. Sometimes the wall provides us a sense of closure, being the end of the path. It becomes part of us and our understanding of the world. We learn its cracks and crevices, therefore allowing us to become comfortable next to the wall, living the remainder of our lives in its shadow. Many people choose this path, refusing to put in the effort required to continue. And I find that the ending of Expedition 33, with the two choices laid out in front of you, to be a stark reminder of the fact that the perspective that we have is our own. Learning from previous experiences and trying our best to make decisions every single day to best fit those ideals that we've gleaned over time. The ending of Clair Obscur is a choice that you, as the player, get to make based on your perspective of the events leading up to this most vital moment. Do you forsake the objective truth and continue the endless cycle of grief, endless fear welling inside of you at the thought of moving on from the loss of a loved one, never growing from your feelings and emotions? And with choosing that, this path of partial happiness is easier and more comforting than the real world, where the hardest choice is to work through those terrible emotions in an effort to find happiness in moving forward. This is the objectively incorrect choice. Yet it's not an easy one to make either. This world crafted by Verso, where a part of him still remains, along with the others within this world that you've developed a bond with, you're keeping them from the finality that should have happened long ago. And for selfish reasons, Mael will maintain the painting, following in her mother's footsteps, refusing to allow the emotions of loss and grief to envelop her, remaining in a false world where she feels whole. This choice is not relative to the real world, but it does have an effect on the people outside of the painting. For one, by staying in the painting, you will die over time, growing weaker and weaker as time passes until death consumes you. It is, in fact, just a painting though. A living world within the painting, it is merely a representation of Verso who has already passed. His memory will never go away, but this painting is the only direct connection to that memory. He crafted this piece of art, and therefore, once destroyed, everything related to Verso will become just a memory and nothing more. His mother entered the painting for a long period of time, attempting to maintain it for the sake of her son, preserving that memory and refusing the father's attempts to destroy it, but this was at the cost of her own life. If she remained within the painting any longer, she would end up buried right alongside her son. This was a choice that she made though, in a last-ditch attempt to stay off the immense emotions of losing a child. She jumped into the painting, preventing her husband, Verso's father, Renoir, from destroying it. The choices at the end are two very different choices, simple in nature but complicated in execution. The first being the one that we've discussed mostly up to this point, where as Mael, Verso's younger sister, you maintain the painting and the world within, refusing to move on and allow the emotion of grief to consume you. The other is fulfilling the wishes of Verso. Destroy the painting, allow the family to move on through the pain of loss. You aren't wrong by choosing one or the other, but you might not be completely right either. These choices are extremely dependent on your perspective of the events leading to it. Your father is trying to kill all living things in his attempt to destroy the world and the painting in one fell swoop. This is why the gommage occurs. The painting of the letters on the monolith by his mother, who is the paintress, were to slow things down, allowing the memories of Verso and her creations of a new family to be maintained as long as possible. delaying the grief that she would one day have to either face or die denying. The primary characters that you're playing as is Gustav and Verso, who are almost two sides of the same coin, yet the story elements are mostly shown with a centering around Maëlle, who is also Alicia. As you progress through the story, you learn the connection between the Descendre family and the citizens of Lumiere, the Gamage, the war that created the continent that separates them from the Paintress, and so on. The expeditions themselves are a very literal example of human nature. We keep trying and trying, even with failure, to overcome insurmountable odds. You can sometimes hold things off for as long as possible, but sometimes certain things in life will come to pass, regardless of how hard you try to stop them. I spoke with a few friends about the major choices at the end here, and how I feel the majority of players will choose the ending for Maëlle, maintaining the world and memory of Verso, because the story is portrayed in a manner that is dark, bleak, and extremely overwhelming at all times. The people are just trying to either manage things as best they can, or overcome them to just take a single step forward. Everyone matters. People build relationships, they care for one another, but they are shown through the eyes of Maëlle. Her pain and perspective, being the lens the story is shown through, makes it hit pretty close to home for her choice. Yet you can also choose to have the ending that Verso wanted, which is to bring closure to his death. And although the world is in pain, people have lost loved ones and continue to do so. It doesn't change how we feel these emotions. The fact remains that you have to feel them. Extending or delaying the pain any longer doesn't make it go away. The objective truth is that the world in which the Gamage, Lumiere, the Paintress, and everything else is not real. It's the representation of Verso as a memory, people within as charming, funny, sad, and real they might seem. They are in fact not. But the Descendre family are very real. Siding with Verso allows them to finally move on, but siding with Maëlle only causes more pain and delayed suffering. But that's the thing. Who's to say which perspective is right and wrong? I said that there was a choice that was objectively correct, but that was a lie. Who gets to say the world painted by Verso isn't just as real as the one outside of it? To Maëlle, the people within the painting feel more like family and closest to her. She comes from both worlds, having lived in the outside world for 16 years and then being reborn again in Lumiere, living for another 16 years. She loves the people within this world, wishing them all to be happy and live a meaningful life. Verso wants to move on and understands that although he loves and cares for the people within the painting as well, that for the betterment of everyone and from his view, the outside world is the correct one that needs to be maintained and cared for. Yet along the way to complete this objective, he treats everyone with respect, love, care, and dedication. Even knowing the potential outcome before it ever comes to pass, he is the only one who knows, before ever embarking on this adventure, that this goal of killing the Paintress will doom everyone. Yet his friendships and care for others never wavers or breaks even in the slightest. He treats every expeditioner as a close friend, and Esquier and Monoko as brothers, always keeping their feelings and opinions as meaningful as possible to him. Maëlle does the same, but without the knowledge that the world is coming to an end. Verso listens to everyone's thoughts and feelings, knowing that it will all be for naught. Maëlle does this as well, but under the impression that this world is just as real as any other, not knowing that this is a fictitious world within a painting. Yet Verso makes the choice to put an end to it all, while Maëlle refuses, maintaining the facade. Both make a choice. Both are selfish, and yet thoughtful of others, all in one sweeping decision. Perspective is quite literally the only difference here, neither being fully right or fully wrong. Grief is the process of moving on. Grief is about understanding and coping. Grief is not freezing time and being stuck in your emotions. Grief is hard, difficult, but we have to experience the loss and grow from it. Without the bad, how can we ever know the good? Life is about experiences. Every second of every day matters. Spend it the best way you can, 1 second at a time. In life, you make choices on a daily basis, some minor, some major, but you always have a choice. Sometimes it can feel like a coin flip, to go with one decision over another, but as my favorite character in this game once said, finding a rock and losing it is better than never finding the rock at all. This is a quote from Esquier, who also once said that I can be sad, even rad, but never mad. And I felt that. In the end, you don't need to know where your choices lead to in life. You don't even need to make a rational one. The only thing that you have to do is choose. And that choice is all that matters, because over time, all we have is the memories from the choices we've made. Memories maintain who we are, who we have yet to become, and at some point, memories are the only thing we'll have left. I hope you all enjoyed this. This video is me digging into the very surface levels of the 2 choices at the end of Expedition 33, not even discussing and going into the inner turmoils and psychological analysis that can be done for all of the characters like Ciel, Lune, Minoko, or the citizens of Lumiere, or even the Desandre family. I'm not great at writing though, or attempting video essays. I do love them though, and I think there are a ton of other people who do it much better than myself. A few others that have also done videos on Clair, Obscur, Expedition 33 that I enjoyed, where they dig into more of the combat or other perspectives, are Jacob Geller, Frankly Gaming, Daryl Talks Games, and Sputnik 34. They will all be linked in the description though, in case you want to see some more about this game. If you have any feedback or anything that you want to leave for me, of course leave a comment. If you guys like this sort of thing and don't think I'm trash at writing, then maybe I'll try to make more of it. Also, I will be doing a normal review of the game with a much smaller focus on the story and more of the game elements. So stick around for that. That'll be coming out in the next week or so. But that is going to be it for me. If you've made it to the end here, please do all that dumb YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. I will see you next time.